Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whenever you're watching this. Today we are working on the 240SX. This is the first build video of the drift build. This is the first episode. So we are actually painting the engine bay. If you haven't seen the recap video where I talked about where SukiddoKids was, where I was, why we didn't upload, and kind of where all the cars are at this point, go ahead and go watch that video. It'll get you catch up on all the cars of the channel and the 240 itself. I already actually went through and did all of the body work or rust and engine prep. We went through and I fixed all the rust holes. I stitch welded around the seams, around the towers, around, you know, the frame rails and stuff like that. Nothing too crazy, but just to stiffen it up because this chassis is a little rough. We are actually going to be painting the car today, painting the engine bay. So for the paint for the engine bay, I'm going to be using Steel It. Now, this is the first time I'm using Steel It for any project. It's supposed to be very durable and just like overall just tough. Supposed to be weldable, supposed to be easy to blend, stuff like that. It's supposed to be a great product. So it is a little pricey, but I'm just doing the engine bay, and I'm not planning on keeping the car white forever, so I wasn't worried about trying to paint match, like color match the engine bay to the rest of the car. So we're just doing just a simple gray, so whatever color I eventually make this car, maybe in a year or so from now, we won't have to repaint the bay because it's a lot of work to get it to this point. So I'm going to throw some moving blankets over the windshield and some of the parts that I don't want overspray to get onto, obviously. Finish up masking the rest of the bay and then hit it with some wax and grease remover, just kind of clean the surface one last time, prep it for the paint, and then get spraying. So let's get into that. Alright, so I went ahead, as you've seen, I hit everything with the wax and grease remover. I did it a couple times over. I did use microfiber cloths. I don't know if that was the right fabric to use to wipe down. This is a learning process for me, always is. If you do know the proper cloth, drop it down in the comments, let me know. I mean, next time I'll do it, I'll probably look it up if nobody informs me. Everything is prepped and ready to go. But unfortunately, as I was getting everything put on, the wind started to kick up. Seen the flag moving, I felt it, obviously, but I'm gonna go ahead and spray it because I've been waiting like 2 weeks trying to get a day to be able to spray it between whether it's too cold or it was way too windy. But we're gonna send it, so let's get spraying.
All right, I got my paint shooken up pretty well. I got my mask on. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the Bluetooth speaker and blare some music, spray away, and start a time lapse. First can down, I'm going to move you and we'll keep going. It's actually coming along pretty damn well. I'm going to go ahead and switch cans and keep spraying.
Alright, so the first coat is on. That I used about 1.5 cans to do the whole bay plus a little extra pieces. So let's go ahead and take a look here. It definitely looks a hell of a lot better in person. And the Steel It is actually spraying on very nice, very flat, even, blending very well, even when I was stopping or having to shake the second can. I know the shade and stuff, it's making kind of hard to see here, but it's turning out pretty well compared to what it was. There's not a whole lot else to it besides waiting for this to flash and spraying a second coat. The second coat is going to be kind of just a overall, just kind of thicken the paint up, add a little bit more durability, and of course fill in and blend in any spots that I may have missed. Try my best to get in all the little nooks and crannies before going over the larger spots, but I think it's turning out really well. I've been waiting to do this for a while, so let it flash. I'm gonna eat lunch and then we'll come back, I'll paint it, and we'll go from there. All right, it is day 2 now. I went ahead yesterday and I sprayed the engine bay with a second coat. I didn't see any reason why I needed to show that process, 2 times, but we're not done yet. I went ahead and picked up some truck bed liner. So we're gonna use this to undercoat the wheel wells. I decided to go with truck bed liner because it's a little bit tougher. The undercoating's more rubberized and it tends to dull and lose kind of color. But I just want something that's gonna, be a little bit harder, kind of encapsulate underneath there a little bit better. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna back tape all the holes in the engine bay. I wanted to wait, I let it wait. I would have loved to do this yesterday, but sometimes when you tape on fresh paint or paint that's only cured or set, flashed for a few hours or so, sometimes that paint can then start to set to the tape, and then when you peel off all your masking tape or whatever, it pulls some of the actual paint off with it. So I'm gonna go ahead, tape off the holes and spray the undercoating. All right, instead of doing another time lapse for taping the bay, we're gonna do a little bit of YouTube magic here. So we'll just, and there we have it. Everything is back taped. Now, that took a lot longer than I expected, but we're ready to throw on the mask, the paint mask, and start spraying her down. So let's do it. All right, seems like it turned out pretty well for just being a can of Rust-Oleum stuff. I heard the Raptor liner stuff is better, but this is, poverty spec, so turned out pretty decent. Let's go ahead and pull the back taping off. And there we have it. All the masking and everything is pulled off. The engine bay is looking just immaculate compared to what it was, compared to what I started with. I'll throw up a before picture or a before clip if I have one. I'm pretty sure I do. The fender wells came out really good. Patched all the holes and everything in here, and the undercoat actually worked pretty well for just being the Rust-Oleum poverty spec truck bed liner, under whatever you want to call it. I think it worked out pretty well for the drift car. So that is all we have for the 240 today. The engine bay turned out awesome. I'm very pleased with how it came out. The fender wells look great. I had to stop and tell myself a couple times working on this engine bay that it is just a drift car. I don't need to go 110%. I did do it pretty well. I still tried. I'm not saying I hacked through it, but we got it done and we're ready to move on to the next step. Next step is going to be the suspension. We're refreshing the entire suspension. As you can probably see, there's no subframes at all in the car. So stay tuned for the next episode where we do the entire suspension overall. If you made it this far in the video, I would truly appreciate maybe a sub or a like, or even drop down a comment and let me know what car you have and what you're working on at this point. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.